Welcome back everyone, and for today's video this will be a very short small haul, probably the smallest haul that I've ever had. Most of this is from Crunchyroll, which means this could potentially be the last Crunchyroll haul that I have, because if you haven't heard, Crunchyroll is moving to a pay-per-view model for their store. So if you don't pay a certain threshold of their membership, you will not have access to their store. They've also been noticeably trying to unload a lot of the non-Crunchyroll releases of manga and anime. So a lot of the stuff that they personally do not license, they've been either on heavy discount or trying to noticeably unload through various sales that have occurred since last year. It's been a very noticeable shift. So everyone's kind of speculating that they were planning for this and then trying to move away from having the online store versus to focus maybe just more on the licensing aspect of it. I think that's kind of messed up, because they did buy out the, I think, most popular anime manga retailer, Right Stuff. Very well liked, very popular, and then they just didn't really do much with their store. In fact, they made it worse over the years, and now they're just closing shop. It's ridiculous. Very messed up of them. At the end of the day though, I am a consumer and I do look for deals, so I did end up purchasing a few things before all of this happened. This half is all from Crunchyroll. This is for my best friend. She got me this Mao Mao figure for my birthday, and I love her. I'd been eyeing this Mao Mao too. I'd wanted a Mao Mao figure, but I was kind of waiting for one that I would be okay paying for. And I think when this released, for it being a prize figure, it was a little expensive, so I just didn't pull the trigger. So I'm happy to have this and not have to pay for it. This is from the Brilliant collection by, who is this from? Banpresto? System Service. I have no idea what that is. I guess I'll put the information in the description, because I honestly didn't research much about this figure or what company they came from. But here she is. She is stunning. Look at her. She is absolutely adorable. She's in her garden party outfit, I believe. This is the first time everyone sees her in makeup, and she kind of causes a commotion by revealing that some of the food she tasted was in fact poison. She makes this amazing face. This is kind of where her maximum aura of poison tester exudes. It's really cool, really awesome. Love this series for Mao Mao, specifically for this reason. Now it is a prize figure, so there's some noticeable not major issues, but you can see some bubbles in the molds around her translucent sash, which you can just lift, honestly. It's very flexible plastic. I don't know. Let me check the box, actually. Mine may not sit completely correctly. This is definitely a plastic that's around. If it's around heat, it's probably going to mold. Yeah, like mine is a little loose here at the bottom, and according to the picture, it's supposed to sit up here. I don't really care too much about it. You know, she's still really pretty, and I think I can fix this with a hairdryer. The paint job is pretty flat. There's really not much shading, if any at all. And you do see some very sharp seam lines. She's also made of, you know, the typical prize figure plastic. But she has all the details of her outfit for the most part. And they are painted. Like, she has her little necklace down there. This new camera of mine cannot zoom in as much as the old one, so unfortunately I'm not able to really show a lot of detail when it comes to figures. But she is gorgeous. I love her. And yeah, her being a prize figure, you can see the very noticeable seam lines where her arms attached and things like that. I will say her base was surprisingly really pretty. It has this floral decoration on it, which I was not expecting. I was expecting, most of the time prize figures just come with a standard black or white base, so the translucent one with the design is really cool. It also, I think, has this, I don't know if they're supposed to be water droplets, but these little indents in the plastic that are intentional, because you can tell their shapes. There's some diamonds, some bubbles or circles, and then some pentagons. So really cool. I'm so happy to have her. She may be a prize figure, but she's absolutely beautiful. For me, what usually kills a prize figure is the sculpt, and I think they did a great job on this. Even though she doesn't have all the exact details, you know, that would make a scale figure extremely beautiful with this outfit, she is still very pretty, and I'm happy to have her. And now, the Crunchyroll package. So I did get a figure from them. I'll save him for last. Then I also got some manga and some blind boxes. I actually had a Crunchyroll package before that came, that I got some blind boxes for a different series. And I did film it, but I didn't want to post it. I don't know what it was, but that haul was just embarrassing. But I will show these because I already opened them. I wanted this one because I wanted this chair, or at the very least this tea set, neither of which I got. But I did get both tables, which is funny. So I can at least use the tables for display later. This is an Alice in Wonderland set. So you can see the table with the tablecloth. The sculpting of this, I will say, it's kind of, you know, low quality. It's not the nicest. But they did try a little bit. It's just very straight. So it's not very realistic. But here is the set. I did like this one, even though it wasn't the one I wanted, because it came with this purple teapot. I thought that was cool. It also comes with a hat, which I guess could fit in Androids. I'm not going to open these because that's not what this video is about. You can see them just fine in the package. I also just don't know what I'm going to do with them since I wasn't expecting to get them really. Then I got the other tea set with the table that has what looks like an hourglass and a teapot under a cloche. Is that what those are called? The little dome coverings. And yeah, the tables are interesting, but same thing. They have slightly different images on them. Oh, they're not the same size. Where it's just Alice's, it's a little longer. Interesting. But here is the little hourglass and then the teapot. So they're cute. But that's what those were. Again, it was a gamble, but I was really hoping I would get a little bit lucky this time. And then finally, here is the manga. So the first one I found that was on sale, all of these were on sale by the way, that's the only reason I got them, is volume 2 of Be My Worst Nightmare. This is a BL manga that I have volume 1 on my wish list. I've been interested in reading it. But since volume 2 was on sale for a really good price, I figured I'd pick it up and then I'll just buy it for volume 1 on Amazon at a later time. It seemed really cute, kind of a tsundere main character, I guess, and his love interest. I think he starts to see him in his dreams, and that's why they start to get together. I kind of forgot, and volume 2 doesn't really tell you the initial plot, it just tells you the plot of that volume. So I'm not going to open it since I haven't actually read the first one, so I'm going to leave that one alone, but excited to have that one for a good price. The next two is volumes 1 and 2 of Happy Crappy Life. This one had really good reviews online when I looked it up. I also read a little bit through a pirate site just to see if I would like it. Art style is really cool and the story seemed interesting. It's about our main character who is part of the Yakuza. He messes up. I guess his playboyishness is revealed and he's demoted or banished to the countryside where he meets another guy. And they get together through shenanigans. It's primarily, from what I saw, a comedy. And again, like I said, it had very good reviews. So I did skim through it online and it looked fun, especially with this art style and the fact that it was on sale. I went ahead and decided to pick it up. This is by Harada. Gosh, I always forget to say the author's name. Oh, Michelle. That's funny. That must be an online name for that one. And then this one is by Harada. Just Harada? I think. This one I also just found interesting because the previous one was by Dan Press. This is a publisher I've never heard of before, Kuma. So very interesting. Let's take a look at what volume 1 looks like, because I'm always curious about the types of publishers and the little niche things that they do with their specific published works. I do like that these came pre-wrapped. Some publishers don't do that. Here we go. Very glossy gold text. Colored page. Although I feel like majority of manga does that now, the single colored page. I think in the past they didn't. So art looks really good. I like that it has the, I guess, what is this? Just regular cover, I guess. Then there's art inside. So a really nice release. If you were already a fan of this series, I would be very pleased by this release. Being a little extra. And then this is the type of manga release where the pages are quite thick. They don't use the standard manga paper. This is more of slightly higher quality, similar to the manhwa paper often used for their published works. So excited. Very happy to have that. And then the final manga, I had to really go back and forth whether I wanted this one because there was another one I was interested in. And when I looked it up and started skimming the first chapters, I really didn't like it. And after the first story, so this is by the author of Blue Period. Her name is Tsubasa Yamaguchi. And this is an anthology of her short stories. 3 stories to be exact. I primarily purchased this for the final one, which involves a story about vampires. But the first one is the one where when I read it online, I was like, I don't know if I want this anymore because it does involve, all of these stories are a little sexual in nature, some of which do involve high schoolers. And the second one in particular is the one where that almost made me not want to get this. Because it does involve sexual assault. There was just something, I've always found the art for this mangaka really interesting though. There's just the way that she draws her characters. They're very unique. They don't really follow the typical manga style or anime style, you know. There's still aspects of it that are there, but the way she draws people is just very unique. And especially now seeing how she handles more mature stories, I was very fascinated, and that's primarily why I wanted to get this, because I didn't know she had more mature stories. I think the topics she covers, the way she covered them, were very interesting, so that there is some value in that aspect. I still wasn't really interested once I got to the second story. It was the third story really where I was like, okay, this is pretty good. First of all, here is the manga outside of the wrapping. The cover is textured. It has the texture of a canvas, honestly, which I think is really cool to match the cover art, because it does kind of look like either a painting or a drawing of some sort. You can see the brush strokes. So let me flip through and find a page that would be okay to show, because like I said, this is kind of a... So here's an example from this first story of what her characters look like. I especially really enjoy this character's design. So the first story is about a girl who is very quiet, keeps to herself, an artist. She spends most of her time in the art room painting or drawing. And I guess this group of delinquent boys targets her and makes a bet with this guy, the blonde hair, or whatever color hair he is in real life. In manga, it's always hard to tell. I just assume the light haired ones have blonde hair or something. But he gets dared to talk to her and eventually sleep with her. I forgot what the punishment was if he fails. I think it was just typical delinquent stuff. He'll get beat up or something, or, you know, his friends will think he's a loser. So he starts talking to her, starts offering his body for her to draw. And some of these angles that they show are really... this is more or less what the cover art is based on, this first story. And I actually do like this story. He more or less learns he doesn't want to do that to her. Nothing happens between the two, really. But it's kind of implied he learned a lesson and likes her at the end. The second story was interesting. I like what she was going with, but, you know, just seeing the the assault towards the end soured my mood a bit. But again, the way she draws her characters and the action, it's just really unique. I really do like that aspect of this mangaka's art. This one's about again, a group of kids or teenage boys specifically. One of them has this very negative opinion of a particular girl in class. He ends up in basically her situation, and she does save him, thankfully, but it's pretty brutal. He does learn a lesson, though, you know, to kind of see things from her perspective, and treats her better towards the end. It's really this last story, though, that really made me want to buy this manga, because I did want a copy of this last story. It is about vampires. This girl finds out this club where vampires reside, and they really struggle trying to get blood. I'm gonna have to reread this because it could be the translation I read online was just not worded correctly, but I got the impression that they have an illness, or vampirism in this world is treated as an illness that is very difficult to deal with. But she basically offers up her blood, and her being a doctor, she's able to acquire a lot of it, so she becomes this host character, vampire host, favorite customer, which causes issues due to how popular they are. And I'm not going to spoil the ending, but like I said, I really, really enjoyed the character design work. Let me see if I can find this guy in particular. I love the way they designed him. He looks really cool. He's the primary reason I wanted this story, but I don't know, there was just something about this final story that really appealed to me and I thought was really interesting. So that's why I ended up buying this, even though the first two stories are kind of bummers. This is very much an acquired taste type of manga, and this is published by Kodansha. So if you're a fan of this artist, I do think it's worth at least checking it out. See if you can find it online or at the library or something, so just to take a peek at the stories, because they're not everyone's cup of tea, especially if you have some triggers. Alright, and the final thing I purchased from Crunchyroll is this figure. This is the Pop-Up Parade Mikazuki Munechika ceremonial attire version. It is an L size for pop-up parades. That means they're slightly bigger than the usual ones, which I don't own a lot of pop-up parades anymore. I used to have two. I sold one and I still have my Black Rock Shooter one, and she's about this tall. So L size is pretty tall. Here is a look at the box. It's pretty samey. Pop-Up Parade is supposed to be a discount figure line from Good Small Company. A little more affordable, but to be quite honest, they kind of just remind me of prize figures a lot of the time, so I've never really been interested in them. Towards the beginning of their run, they were kind of worth the money. They were smaller, but it is Good Small Company, so their quality is top-notch. So they were a slightly better option than a prize figure back then, but now prize figures I think has gotten so good that, especially with the price increases in pop-up parades that I've seen, they don't seem very worth it. I did have to debate with myself whether or not I was going to get him, because his original price I think was closer to $60 or $80, and I just wasn't willing, especially for a pop-up parade figure. But on Crunchyroll he was on sale, so I got him for I think $40. This is a character I've loved for years, primarily because of his design, his character design. I attempted to make an account to Token Rambu back when it was really popular, and I got into him to try and play the source material, but it just never happened. So he's definitely a character I really only enjoy because of his character design. He was just really nice. I have two figures of him, plus an android. So when they announced this one, I was very interested, but like I said, he's very simple, so I wasn't willing to pay too high of a price. He's really tall, so it's a little difficult to try and show you guys what he's about, but here we go. His face is beautiful, I will say. It being a pop-up parade, I was kind of expecting a wonky face, but he's gorgeous. No pixelation or anything. He's got really nice sculpting on his hair. Apologies for my chickens that you can hear outside. Really nice. I would be careful with this little hair. It's poking out there. Then we have some extra detail on his collarbone area. A silver necklace, as well as Like you can see the layers of his shirt underneath, which kind of looks like a sweater, honestly. It's this metallic blue. And some of the quality you start to see where it's a pop-up parade versus an actual scale figure, because you can see this very sharp seams between the necklace and the sweater. Nevertheless, his outfit is really cool. He's got all this, in person, I'm assuming this would be implied embroidery. But in the figure itself, it's just an indentation of the sculpt. Shapes of flowers. He's got little more accents. You can see his outfit underneath the jacket come through his sleeves, and then he has his pocket hanky, whatever it is. Same color and texture of his shirt. And then the flowers do go all the way around. There's some seams for the actual seams of the jacket, as well as some button sculpting. So overall, he is a gorgeous man. And I love the sculpt of his hands, especially this one. This is just a relaxed finger or hand. Not a lot of shading, but then this one, I love handwork, really, especially when they try to do a little something with it. Him just carefully lifting his jacket just a little bit, his thumb poking out. I love that. It's really well done as well. He's got a chain that I'm assuming goes to a pocket watch towards the bottom of his vest. He's got buttons, and then you can faintly see his buckle for his belt. And then the pants are really nothing to write home about, but it has really nice sculpting on them. So cool. Look at that. Very smooth, matte finish. The jacket is pretty matte as well. Then we get down to his shoes, and they are quite shiny. They have a more shiny, darker black finish. And they're sculpted really nicely as well. This is as far as I can zoom in, unfortunately. So, but really cool. Then let's get one more good look at his face. He is beautiful. And like I said, I love the sculpting of his hair. I think his face looks good. I know some people, when they first got this figure, they were saying his face just didn't match, I guess, his usual face, but I think he looks fine. I may have to look at my other figures and compare, but for me, it works. Similar to prize figures, the base is nothing to write home about. It just has some licensing at the bottom for Nitro Plus, which is the company that made Token Rambu. It is a shame I can't zoom in a lot on this camera, because I really wanted to show a little more of those details. But I really like him. I'm glad I got him. He's really pretty. A nice little Bishonen to add to my shelf. But that is it for this haul. Not, I guess, again, like I said, it wasn't a lot. But I am happy to have gotten everything that I did. I hope the lighting is okay with this new setup. I think I might have to find some kind of covering for that to roll up when I film, because the lighting, I think, is messing with my camera settings. But I hope it's okay for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll try to leave links for at least the figures in the description, and then the manga, I'll just leave the name of the manga itself. But if they're still available, I'll go ahead and provide links to the figures. Thank you so much for watching once again. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.